friends! Welcome to the inaugural edition of the Blurred Lines Wrestling Podcasts. We are your hosts. I am Randy Guerrero.
I am Tyler Jacobs.
I am Red James, bitch.
And we are here for episode 1, which we are going to dive into in a little bit. But my friends, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good on this rainy Saturday afternoon.
Pretty crappy outside.
It's always fun. We are recording this today, April 26th, 2025, just to kind of set the tone of where everybody is. We are in this post-Good Guy John Cena world. There is no more Tribal Chief.
There is not.
Where is our cult of personality?
17-time world champion. New world champion record.
I'm having way too much fun with that. What essentially is really happening right now is we have no idea how we really want to start these things, and we're going to just kind of wing it. What you guys are along the ride with this podcast is us. This is going to be a learning experience for us, but it's three dudes that have been kicking an idea around for
quite a while.
that are finally just getting to it. And with the way everything is in the world nowadays, this is just a really cool way to potentially make a couple extra bucks. But to me, more importantly, it's just a really cheap way and a cheap excuse for us to kind of bullshit together for a little bit. Yeah, we're going to cuss. We are adults. Sorry. So, yeah. But to kind of set the tone for today, I will do the topic introduction because, well, I'm the topic teller today. We are going to talk about the misused talents, the MUTTS. Yeah, we took the layup. It was just super simple. And quite frankly, there's a lot of the story that I haven't necessarily told before and hasn't been told before. So we're going to, try to dive into everything that we think people would necessarily care about. Not that I'm saying people even care about me in the first place, but hey, we had a decent run. So yeah, we'll talk about how everything started. The formation of the MUTTS, how everything went there. I'll talk about Maine. I'll answer whatever questions that these guys have about the riot they never saw. So... go into when we added Jose, how everything went there, the mini rebrand that we did, and then ending on the, I think, very obvious topic that people are going to have, which was Griff's passing. So if you guys want to skip that part, because it does talk about some not fun stuff, I totally understand, but just know that there's nothing off the table today. Incredibly honest. I promised everybody I'd be incredibly honest, and again, it's also just upfront my personal point of view that I'm going to be telling. So if I get a story wrong, my bad, but I'm telling things from my eyes. So take that grain of salt to start with everything. With that,
let's get started.
The following is a fake ad read. Introducing Brain and Brawn Boost. Because why settle for one when you can have both? Sharpen your memory and, well, rise to the occasion. Brain and Brawn Boost, for the moments you'll never forget. Side effects may include feeling like a superhero.
Okay, so let's get into this. Randy Guerrero. What was the beginning of the MUTTS with Ian Griffin?
I love how right off the bat, how we have to have the distinction of Griffin. It's going to end up being a big thing. The actual formation of the MUTTS was, everything was born from Griff. Everything was Griff's idea. The MUTTS is Griff's baby. We came up with the idea a while ago because he had a great run with UWD, and then he got I guess we got too close too quick. Because I always feel like I kind of took some of his shine away. And he didn't really get booked a whole lot, and he was kind of frustrated out of that. So like the idea of the misused talent was really just Griff. He started to get kind of bummed that I wasn't getting booked as well. But at that time, there were personal reasons as to why, because I was a piece of shit. But yeah, so we did but then we get back, we do this one show in South Windsor, where I was going to cut this promo, introduce two guys with me, and then Griff was going to ultimately be revealed as like the leader of the team, and that was going to be like the first time that we did the MUTTS. I remember cutting that promo, getting in a bunch of freaking trouble with people. So we never got to actually do that, like at the original formation of the MUTTS. What we normally that's the real story of the formation of the MUTTS. What we tell people was what was supposed to be the debut of the MUTTS. Griff got to do a spot. I can't remember the name of the promotion. It was Eric Newton's promotion.
It was New England Frontier Wrestling.
Was it? Okay. I couldn't remember if it was NEFW at the time or if it was the other name. Because like NEFW...
It was a spinoff, yeah.
Yeah, it turned into something else. I couldn't remember. That's why I kind of stopped because I knew this. I knew he'd pick me right up.
Whoops.
So Griff did the spot there where it was Griff bumping into a promo with Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and I can't remember who the third guy was. The Big O? I think it was the Big O. It was Zack Ryder's buddy.
Oh, Big O.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was Zack Ryder. Yeah, I think it was the three of them. And Griff gets to the spot. He took a Superfly splash.
So names Griff is working with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Working. Yeah. Luckily, he takes a Superfly splash, which he wouldn't stop talking about. It was the coolest thing ever to his spot. And then he does this thing where he tries to get away from the barber. Can't get away from the barber. Barber shaves his head.
Nice.
Like, mark out stuff.
Right.
Absolute blast. He pitched to have to me come out, try to make a save. Oh no, I get caught. We both get our head shaved. And that's like our anchor moment. I've fallen in love with, Marvel nowadays. So it's like, that was like the pivotal moment in the creation of the MUTTS.
The canon event, if you will.
Yes, exactly. Like that one spot you could always go back to. I still had heat on me at the time because like I was still a piece of crap. So like they didn't really want it. They were using me, but like they were like, we're not gonna throw him the bone of working with names. I don't blame them. I was a douche. So yeah, it was just Griff. And then like nothing came of it afterwards either. So that kind of we use that as fuel to then be like, oh yeah, no, like we're the misused talents. Like you just did all this crazy stuff with them.
Are you giving this big spot for what?
I mean, I won't even say it was a big spot because it was definitely kind of like in the back looked at as just a way to get, I don't want to be like just a way to get the old timers on the card, but like it was just like they weren't really doing anything. So I'll pause for 1 second. Are we recording? I think we are.
So you guys, Griff got his hair shaved by the barber, and then what happened after that? How did you guys become an actual tag team? It's like...
Great. So while even though the situation didn't happen, we pitched it like, hey, it should be the both of us. Because it didn't happen, and they were like cool with it happening to one of us, but not both of us. We still kind of used that as our anchor moment. Because we're like, would it really have hurt if it was two of us? Like in the grand scheme of things, like the way we justified it in our minds, we're like, you didn't do anything. Like they didn't book him afterwards.
Right.
It's like there was nothing that really came of it. Like I think he got used, but like nothing. Like we didn't do the team. I don't know. It's like the way we looked at it, we're like, wow, man, that would have been like it was a really cool moment. That like you didn't have to pay me more, you didn't have to do anything more. Like it just would have worked out. But it didn't. But it did in a way. Because we still were like, wow, that should have happened. Like that was misuse of us. Oh wow, like we kept on coming back to this misuse thing. And acronyms were just a big thing at the time. And that's how we were like, oh yeah, the misuse talents. And Griff being
I was going to say, the MUTTS, where's the second T come from?
There's two T in talents. Is what he would always That's what he would always say. He's like, well, there's two T's in talents. And I was like, brother, that's not how acronyms work. Like each one of the letters need to mean a different word. But he was super adamant about like, oh no, there's two T's in talents. So that's like whenever whenever we spelled out misused talents, I always tried to make sure to remind myself, please capitalize both of the T's so at least it makes some sort of fucking sense.
Somewhat looks cool. Whatever.
You know?
Flows nicely, if you will.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're like, we'd have to add another T. Misused talent, what? So it's like, okay, like, yeah, it works. Like the logic is there, but I don't know if it's grammar or just like in our use of the English language wasn't.
It was off.
But yeah, no, but that's how the Mutts became. We just decided that we really liked working each other, and that really actually just drove us to realize that we liked working with each other, and we would just start to wrestle each other everywhere. I remember the original BLW was a thing at the time that I was helping book. All of you guys were there.
Unfortunately,
this is the child.
Unfortunately, yes.
But I mean, now I love it because it gave birth to a lot of great things. Got a lot of great partnerships. I got to do a lot of cool stuff because of BLW. One of which was watch Griff bloom, because he got to try a character that he would dive into again later in his career.
The Forgotten.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. That was the birth of that. I always thought it was dumb. Proved me wrong.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Turned it into a whole team.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But that introduced us to the Maximos though.
Yes.
So like we got to do some cool stuff there, and that opened the door to fighting spirit wrestling.
Yep.
That got Griff booked. They got me booked as a ring announcer. Because I'm like, yeah, I'll do anything. I remember Chavo Guerrero was on the show, and I was like, you are out of your mind if you don't think I want to be on that show.
I do remember you calling Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah, I was just like, that's cool. I'm like, yep, cool. Love doing this. But on their house shows, like Griff and I got to work with each other. And that's where Griff and I really figured out that we had this absolute ridiculous chemistry in the ring. It culminated, we would just get better and better with each other, which got me lucky because I was the drizzling. I had no business being in the ring. I still have no business being in the ring. We'll get to that. But Griff makes me better. So I would just work with Griff, and we got to the point where we'd have this one match in New York where they're like, we were just looked at them, we're like, all right, which one, like we knew we were working each other, we're like, which one do you want to go up? And he was like, I can't remember, I think it was Griff, I don't even remember. It was one of us. And I'm like, okay. I was like, is there any specific way? Like, what do you want out of the match?
Right.
And you're just like, no, we just want to see you guys.
You guys go out there and do you.
We want to see your best. I think we were at that point where it's like, hey, like we needed to, not because like we were in trouble, but like we needed to have our moment, So like,
right.
Like, hey, yo, like we do belong here, because like we were continuously getting better. Or at least that's how we felt. We looked at it afterwards. And what's weird, they're just like, yeah, no, just go prove yourselves. Okay, cool. And that was the last Griff and I spoke. We didn't call anything. We had no idea how. All we knew was like, hey, this person's supposed to go up. We had no idea what we were doing.
You just went out there and did the damn thing.
We didn't even talk out there either. We legitimately just went out there. It's the craziest match I've ever had. But without saying a word, we were speaking to each other. I knew exactly where he wanted me to be, when he wanted me to be, what he was thinking of doing. Just as like he knew what moves I wanted to do, where I wanted to place things, we didn't have to discuss any of that. We just, at that point in time in our lives, everything, we'd grown so connected that we were just like,
could read each other
in sync. And I guess we had a good match. We get in the back, we had a standing O from the guys, which meant fucking everything, because that was like to see people that you were looking, like I was like looking up to.
Right.
Fucking, I'm not gonna name drop, but I mean, Maximos. just like hell yeah, but not in like a marky, holy shit match, man. In a like, you guys did the thing. Like we told you, go
We went
show
out
up,
there and did it.
and you did it. Like y'all went out there and did the thing. That meant so much to see that, and we're like, oh okay. And that was Griff and I kind of looking at each other. We're like, oh hey, you know what? Maybe we're not. Wow, maybe we were right.
Maybe we should keep doing this.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
just like people could take a shot on us. Like come on, like these guys, like, they have no reason to.
Yeah. What are you gonna lose?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this drives you to go to like the main, I believe.
Yeah. Griff, that was already somewhere. That even before us, Griff was already working prior. But yeah, because we were doing so good there, Griff was using that tape to get him booked elsewhere. And in turn, doing the Good Brothers thing. Because, like, we still weren't necessarily a team at that time. Like, we were essentially a traveling act.
Right.
We were a traveling match.
Yeah.
So, like, anywhere Griff got booked, if they didn't have something for him, he very simply could be like, oh, well, I can just wrestle my boy. And we knew at that time we had a good match to sell.
Right.
Like, that's what we're doing. Like, we did the same thing for NEFW, where this was right after we had the New York match where we tore the damn house down. We get booked in a pre-show match. And we look at the promoter. No, it's cool. We hadn't wrestled. No, not even. There's a thing though. There's always logic behind these things. We had removed ourselves from the Massachusetts scene for so long that in all honesty, from a promoter's eyes, we had no business really being on their quote unquote main card. Because like nobody really, we ran the risk of nobody really knowing who we were.
Yeah.
What we had running on our side was this company was running in Massachusetts where Griff lived and ran, like Griff UWD was running out of Massachusetts for years. So like we always had that kind of built in with Mass. So we knew, we're like, oh, well, at least Griff will get the pop. Like Griff be the baby face, Griff will get the home pop.
Hometown boy.
It's gonna work every single time. Promoters know that too. So like, yeah, we'll put you on the pre-show because the boys will get hot, which they did. That we're even on the card.
Yeah.
Because we're like, we don't belong there. We asked the promoter, all right, cool. Hey, what do you want out of the match? Because ultimately this is still your show. What do you want us to do? What do you not want us to do? And he dead looking, he's like, I heard you guys had a really good match in New York. I want that. And we were like, that is not a pre-show match. Are you sure? He's like, that's what I'm hiring. And he looked at us and he's like, if you're not supposed to be on the main card, then it shouldn't be a problem if you guys are doing this match.
Okay.
Essentially being like, we had a lot of people backstage didn't really want us around. I don't know why. People just didn't like us. It was probably because I was a dick. My 20s were not fun. It's just being honest. I was a horrible human being.
Everybody's young and dumb.
I was very dumb though. Professionally dumb. I was very professionally stupid. I should have been listening to Griff a lot more than I was. But either which way, a lot of the guys were upset that a lot of people were upset at the match that we did. Because we went out there and we didn't hold, like the pre-show is just supposed to be like, hey, get the crowd up, get them excited. Don't really,
right.
Don't do anything.
Don't tear the house down.
Yeah, you could tear the house down. No. You could still tear the house down. Because like you can be an overact, you can do certain cool things. Like you can still tear the house down as an opener. Don't do everything though. Like don't do flips, don't go over the top rope, don't even go on the top rope. Like because like these are all things that the main card guys are getting. Like that's what people are paying to see, is that crazy stuff.
Yeah.
They're not paying to see the open. Like just get them up, get them excited. You can still rock the house doing that. Don't get me wrong. But we went out and the promoter literally told us, do the match that you guys did in New York. Like it was a thing. People were talking about it. We that's what we were using as tape. So whatever. He's like, I saw that, I want that. We went out and we did that.
On a pre-show.
On a pre-show. And people were not happy about it. People were very, very pissed. Behind the scenes. Wrestlers. Very, very pissed.
What about the crowd?
I mean, I'm not one to take the crowds. You'd have to ask the crowd. No, I see. It's going to seem like a cop-out. But like that's why I look at it. I will never tell you if I had a good or bad match.
I mean, you can hear them, though.
Yes, but like some crowds will just make noise. Like some crowds will make noise just to make noise. You know,
Fair.
especially on this
Independent
low
scene,
level,
yes.
like because like you can like I'm not wrestling in front of thousands of people. I'm wrestling
No,
in front of
yeah.
maybe hundreds of people. You can hear each individual people, so like you can tell when people are just making noise to make noise. You know, just like, oh hey, that was cool, woo. You don't hear genuine, like you'll know pops when like people are like, oh, like when people genuinely get that rise and they burst. You'll know those moments, but like everybody, people differentiate the two. But anyways, I'm rambling. Go on.
Well,
So when did you guys actually get in the main and get your tag team run going?
I can't tell you the year because I don't have that type of memory. But I remember getting booked up there, going up there with Miyagi and Scotty. That was a fun hard ride. Those are great guys. I love. Those are fun.
I can only imagine the four of you in one car.
Fun car ride. Stopped, got myself a couple of Four Locos because I was still young and dumb.
That is never a good
Yeah,
idea.
we
Never.
we had
Not
a
good.
great night. Great night. Stayed at this guy Captain's house. Rest easy. Fun night. Good times. Those are guys that like were always super. I didn't realize until I was older. Those were guys that were always like super honest with me. And just they were doing so at a time that I wasn't ready to hear the honesty. So like I looked at it in them as like, oh wow, these guys are dicks.
Yeah.
But like now that I'm older, like and now that I'm a dad, that's a life changing moment for me. I look back on things and I was like, oh wow, no, these guys were just super honest with me, and I didn't want to hear it. So like, oh, they're jerks. No, they're just honest.
Yeah.
You're an
Teach
idiot.
you a thing or two.
Yep.
You
And
don't
I was
wanna-
like, listening.
You don't want to listen.
But we did that. So that was the week I remember we did. Griff was working singles, and I did a thing as the Green Power Ranger. I was one of the Power Rangers. I can't remember. It's whatever suit's broken because I broke the belt because I was a fat ass at the time. I was skinny fat like my entire life. So yeah, and then I guess Eric, the promoter, liked what he saw out of me. I mean, I was willing to do whatever he asked. He's like, hey, I know I booked you, but like I need Green Power Ranger. Green Power Ranger?
Are you willing?
No. It's not an are you willing thing. It's like, hey, you're booked. Didn't necessarily say that you're booked as yourself. You're just booked. This is what I need.
Loopholes,
So like if you say no, huh?
Say loopholes, bud.
No, it's just business. It's how things work.
Business
you know,
is business,
It's
as they say.
business. You're booking an act. You know, when you break it down to like everybody's like, oh, wrestling people. I'm like, yeah, but it's still just you're booking an act. Everybody's their own act. Like, what do I want out of this act? Oh, I need this guy. I need 3 Power Rangers. Okay, I just got to book 3. Who cares, guys? Because
3 bodies.
just 3 bodies that'll fit in the suit.
Yeah.
You know, they just happened to book one guy that didn't quite fit in the suit. Yeah, but so it was more. It wasn't more of like, oh, do you want it? It was more like, hey, I booked you on the show. Here's what I booked you for.
Yeah.
You're the Green Power Ranger. You say no, just go the fuck home.
Gotcha.
And that's how that's how the business works.
So we're the
So-
Green Ranger.
Yeah, so we go with the Green Ranger. They must have liked us, because then he's like, "Hey, I hear that you guys are a tag team. You know, we could use a few. Would you guys be okay with coming back? And I'll book you guys as a tag team." We were like, "Yeah, we'll
Why
come
not?
back without a doubt." Go. We get kind of sort of new gear that like somewhat matches. I can't remember what it was. Like I was wearing some of his old stuff. And when we do a couple tag matches up in Maine, and Griff and I, just for some weird reason, have this natural chemistry with each other. So like everything, like we just knew what we wanted to do. So like we worked well together. So like we looked decent as a team, and like working against other teams that were really like we got lucky and we got booked with Mike Orlando, and I can't remember the name of his tag partner at the time, but another super nice dude, super good gentleman to me at least. I'm bad at names. I'm sorry. I can see his face as I'm talking about him. Nice guys, but like we had no business being in the ring with them. But like they were a good act together, and we were a good act together. So like that will work, you know. So we got to work with them, and then they were leaving, so they were the tag champs at the time, and they were just like, hey, you know what? We'll just put them on Griffin Guerrero, I mean, to us, they kind of initially felt like a placeholder type thing. We're just like, oh wow, these guys are
Just until the next tag team gets built up.
not even. It was more so just like, oh wow, I think there were circumstances around those guys leaving. So it's one of these things like, hey, we got to get these off of them quick. It's like they've been working these guys. We can put them on these guys for real quick for a little bit, like a show or two, and then like we have already an established team that can come in, take the belts off of them, like a reset button team.
Okay,
you know,
yeah,
like if you
yeah,
just need
yes.
a break, it kind of felt like that. And then like we just, I don't want to say we got over, but like Griff and I were able to make things work as a tag team. And we got getting the belts inspired us. We're like, hey man, we should probably really get like good gear, matching gear, like real, like let's go get custom matching gear. So that's when we went out and we bought the first, the green and blacks. I can't wait to have his. I haven't gotten it yet. I'm gonna go get it. I want it, but I don't want it at the same time. But like then we looked like a better team. Like we matched almost everything. We had the same gauntlets. Our boots looked close. Like they weren't made by the same people, but they were close enough. But like the matching tights, everything, just the names are different. So like we looked like entrance. We had the same jackets. We were a team.
You guys were official, tag team.
Like
the MUTTS.
Not a thrown together team.
Yeah. So like it looked a lot better, and that helped us for a while too. Because then like we would show up. Griff still had a name, and Griff was the best. So like people would see Griff, and they would want to do business with us, and they would see us, and 9 times out of 10, we'd be the only tag team. I don't want to say that looked like a tag team, but like that had the matching gear that like you could tell. Oh yeah, no, that's a
These
unit.
dudes are together.
Yeah, that's a unit. That's a tag. Like I don't want to say tag team, but like those two are together.
Right.
You could just tell. And that's a rare thing at the time. So that helped us a lot. And that got we started, so we did the main thing. We had a nice run up there. We got lucky. We got to work with Kenny and Jose up there again.
Yeah, the Player Society.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
Which is a really interesting concept if you think about it. Considering what happened next with the MUTTS. I know we're jumping the shark here, but
it's things that happened there that translate into later things too. So like we Griff and I really enjoyed that because so we have the great run up in Maine. We're a couple times tag team champion. I remember one time we realized that we were we held the belts for the longest at that point in time, like just randomly. Like the happy accident of like, oh hey, like let's just put the belts on these guys. We ended up becoming the team to hold them the longest at the time.
That's wild.
So like we used that as a thing. We were just like, oh, we're the longest running IWE tag team champions ever. Like just obnoxious stuff. We had so much fun up there. But because of that, like you could tell, like it just made everything work so much better. Yeah. But then Griff had a couple kids.
That's his life.
Yeah, that's his life,
yeah.
which is great. I mean, I love them. But at the time, Griff was like, hey, he was like, I'm going to step away. Because it was his first. He's like, he didn't really know what he wanted to do. He's like, he didn't know how this was going to change his life. Like the woman that he was seeing, his now widow, already had kids, but like he didn't really know the beginning of that.
Right. It's not been his.
Bonus kids are different.
Absolutely, but still.
You get what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry. But so he's like, I don't know. He was like, I didn't know. So like, all right. So we do this thing where I turn on him. And that's where the whole Alex Kane, not the Jannetty thing came from. Because we thought he was going to be gone for a while. Because we had no idea. So we're like, all right, we'll split the team. And then, like, when you're ready to come back, I have a built-in feud. Let's go. Make some money.
Right.
Then we have to do that again. Only this time I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to take some time off, too. Because, like, we've been running, at that point, we've been running Maine. I don't even know how long we were doing the Maine loops. We were doing New York loops.
It was
and, like,
a while.
they're little...
I remember it being a little while.
It was a little while, but like for for our lives and where we were in our lives, like there was for us a demanding schedule. Like it doesn't sound like, looking at the grand scheme of professional wrestling, like it was nothing. But like we both had full-time jobs. He had this life-changing event that was about to happen. I was too busy trying to change lives. Like, it was just crazy. So, the second time we were like, hey, you know what? We had all this equity built up in Maine, and we're like, this time we truly didn't know how long we were going to go away for. Like, we knew the first time was quick, but this time we were just like, I was kind of beat up. Griff, like, we both were like, we're okay with stepping away from Maine for a little bit. Like we thought like we would come back with a refresh and everything. So we were just like, hey, let's build a team up, get them going really, really good. That was the players.
Yeah.
We picked the players. We're like, hey, like, these are our guys anyway, so like, of course.
Give them
So
the rub.
yeah, we push for them, we do the thing, we do a couple matches. Kill it. We had a really fun Falls Count Anywhere that we're like, hey, let's just start in the crowd, or like we just nonsense stuff. Just nonsensical stuff. But like we were just having fun. But like the point was always like, hey, we're gonna put them over, we're gonna go away for a while.
Right.
So we put them over. We didn't have the tag belts at the time. It was more like a implied number one contendership thing. Like it was never like spoken. But like we were hoping that the feud and everything would get so good that like when it was obvious one team's walking away from this, that's next in line, So that was our hope with that. Life ended up happening, and they were only able to make one date after.
So the players were no more, and the MUTTS are now on the back burner right now.
Yeah. So then we stepped away from there for a while after that, I believe. Yeah. And I think at that point, we had a little bit of time off. And then Griff and I got booked at TIW. I remember doing one of their earlier shows. I think it was like the same weekend we did a gig, because like after the players thing, we ended up going back to Maine, kind of refreshing up things, winning the belts again, doing something, and then we're like, hey, we're gonna put over this team, the Street. Great guys, look at Black Rose. Both of them. But like, look at Black Rose. I just love the stuff that he's doing right now. I love it. We've had private conversations behind the scenes about things, and like to see him actually put forth and do the things that he was just like tossing ideas about. He's like, oh, I want to find this, I want to do this, I want to tweak this. And now seeing that he's made these alterations and everything's clicking, everything's working. It's really cool to like watch someone go from like the Street, where it's like it's just two guys that were put together, because they
happen to look similar,
happen to look the same, and they got happy, they got named. It was a great idea to put them together. Concept's a little sus. But like, I digress. We'll get into that later too.
That's another conversation.
It will be. Don't worry. We'll circle back. But yeah, so like I remember working the show. Like we put those guys over one night for the belts, and then we just so happened to work a show in a completely different state the next day, and like everybody's so happy that these guys are tag team champions somewhere else, and Griff and I are like chuckling to ourselves, just like, yeah, we're the guys that they fucking beat, Hey, hi. And like, but we've done so much time away from the Massachusetts scene that like the guys that were local to that scene had no idea who the hell we were.
Right.
So like these guys are just like, oh, it's so cool that they won the tag belts last night. That's so great for them. Blah blah blah. And they're like, oh hey, we're so and so. So like, oh yeah, no, hey, we're I personally can't even remember. I think my name is Alex Kane at the time. I've changed it so many freaking times. I can't remember which iteration, but like, oh yeah, hey. Like I'm Randy Griffin, and I'm like yeah, we're the guys that put them over. Like we were the ones that put them over last night. We're the ones they beat. Sorry,
we gave them the belts.
Yeah, we were the tag team champions. Thank you for talking so low about us. It's fantastic. but like just as a rib, you know, because like we didn't. It's fake. It's predetermined. Like it's not real, you know. Like the belts don't mean anything.
It's real, damn it. It's real.
It's the real to me, damn it.
I get it. I mean, I'll make the argument. Like, I'll smack the first person that says it's fake, but I'm not. But I'm just like, it's like I know it's going to. I know what I want to happen. I will put it that way.
Yeah. Doesn't always actually happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess then we get pretty close to when we had Jose.
So the players are no more. Yeah, the Mutts come back to Maine.
Well, the Mutts were it. So the addition of Jose August Leon that was originally done, I believe, in TIW. I think that's where we first added him. Or I can't remember if we did. I know we've added him. We've added him twice because like we kind of treated the act differently in different places. We're like, oh hey, TIW will test certain things here, but like we may not do that same act somewhere else. Like some places, like it might still be just Griffin Guerrero,
right?
You know, and we weren't necessarily doing the three of us everywhere, but when we committed, we're like, hey, no, this is the act. Like it's the three of us. This is what we're doing now.
From a tag team to a trio.
Yeah, exactly. When we decided to pull that trigger, was when we were only working in TIW.
And during that time, you guys had a whole rebrand. You guys decided to do like a more purgy attempt.
Kinda. That was so it happened in two waves, I would say. So we added August, Jose, and then we were still kind of doing, like Griff and I were still doing a version of the Griff Guerrero Mutts. Because like,
so why add a third person if you're already still doing the Griffin Guerrero in other places and not taking Jose with you?
Because we wanted to take Jose with us. We felt we wanted him to work. He wasn't getting any work.
Right.
So we were like, hey, we're an act that's getting booked pretty regularly. We were like, we can just add you to the act. Like we've been doing, in our minds too, we were like, hey man, we've been doing the same thing. Like we were the Mutts, Ian Griffin, Randy Guerrero, Alex Kane, for a minute.
Right.
You know, and there was the only change that we would do would be like, oh, like we would come out with a different jacket. Or like our big change was like, oh, we have purple gear now. Like there was never any core change to how we really presented ourselves.
You were who you were.
Exactly. So we're like, oh, we can expand on that and just add a third member to the team or a third member to the act, make it a team, a bigger team. But because we were all still kind of like, I don't want to say like our own separate versions of ourselves, but like the Mutts at that time were like, we thought we were getting stale. And we were like, we need something.
Some kind of refresh.
Yeah, we were like, we need a refresh. And we were like, we can get away pretty easily with just adding Jose. Because it's not like we were doing anything that was super gimmicky. You know, like people think Mutts, they expect us to come out in dog chains and like barking and all this nonsense.
Like junkyard dogs or something.
Yeah. That's not what we were doing. Like it was an acronym. And like we that's why I made it such a thing. Like when we would turn heel and we would do heel things, it was like, hey, we got to stop being called the Mutts. We need to be called the misused talents because that's the point. Right. You know, like that was always like the root of like why the Mutts are heels. It's like we always felt like we're misused. We always had this like weird chip on our shoulder. You know, like that's always
is just the acronym. We are the misused talents.
Exactly. But when we're baby faces, we can get away with called the Mutts because like, oh, you kind of want to get away from like the misused part because like baby faces aren't misused. They're usually
right. You guys are just the underdogs.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, like the Mutts. Yeah, like you can get away with certain things. Very easy, very simple nonsense. So that's the thing. That's how we looked at it. We're like, it's very easy, very simple. It shouldn't be rocket science adding a third person because all we're doing is just expanding
on us. On yourselves. You're right.
Yeah. Nope. Boy, were we wrong. Boy, were we wrong. I think I think the problem that we ran into was people would still book, like, because we kind of only, like, it's a self-inflicted wound, because like we were only doing that trio in one spot, and like Griff and I were still like taking side bookings every now and then as a tag team, and then the three of us made an agreement that we're like, no, we need to go all in.
If it's gonna
If it's gonna be the three of us, it needs to always be the three of us. Let's do this.
Right.
So like we started to then, like, I remember we did a booking for Roma's company. And it was the MUTTS. And I can't remember if we specified like which two would actually be working. And I knew that weekend I had walking pneumonia. So I was like, yeah,
obviously not working.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. I think when we got there, the version of the MUTTS they got weren't necessarily the version of the MUTTS they thought.
Wanted.
No, I don't want to say wanted. I don't want to say wanted because I personally had a lot of faith in Griffin Jose. So be like, oh, like, we'll give you, like, I don't care what you want. Like, this is what you need. We're going to give you what you need because these guys are good. And like, this is our act. And we believe our act is good. You know, so like, even if you're like, oh no, we're booking like, quote unquote, the MUTTS, you know, Griffin and Guerrero. No, in our minds, we're like, we can give you Guerrero and Leon.
There's three of us.
We can give you Guerrero and Leon, and it's just as good. It doesn't matter. You know? We should have been more clear. I think they expected Griffin Guerrero. They got Griffin Jose. It was the first time they had worked together. So, like, our mistake of not working the kinks out. So I think they were expecting one thing. To be fair, they got another. And then I had to work. I worked as well because I think they knew all three of us. It's like they thought Jose would work
better.
No, this worked. Jose.
He worked the other match.
He would work this. So I was put in a 4-way. They thought Jose would work the 4-way. It would be Griff and I working the tag. When I showed up, and I'm like, hey man, it's them in the tag. I'm sick. They were like, we have this 4-way. So then I'm like, oh man. They're like, we can make it a triple threat, but like, we advertise it as a 4-way. And I was like, you know what? And then that's where it comes on us, because if we don't tell them who, you know, like, we don't tell them who's actually coming. We're just like, oh yeah, you booked the MUTTS. Like it's when we assume a trio, we should have been professional and always assumed that all three of us would always be working, and we didn't. At least I didn't. That'll put on me. So I did the show sick. So like, it did us no favors whatsoever. And again, self-inflicted wounds though. We got a team that hadn't been a team, so like that flopped. And I couldn't. I'm an asthmatic with walking pneumonia. I can't breathe to save my life.
You're literally flopping.
Not to mention, I'm already the drizzling shits. So like, I'm just horrible. I had no business being. I already have no business being in a ring, but like, I definitely had no business being in a ring. You know, so like that. I think up front, like, it kind of got a weird reputation, and once you get a reputation, sometimes that's pretty hard. I'm proof of it. It's a hard thing to change. Yeah. It's a very hard thing to change. So the three of us then didn't start to get booked as often. And there was a lot of internal, like, why? Like, what's changed? You know, and I was on board with that. Like, all three of us were just like, what's changed? Like, what, you know? And then, you know, we all kind of sit down, we think about it, and, you know, and I know I looked at it, I was like, well, I mean, to be fair, in reality, like, we don't think the act has changed, but, like, the act has changed.
I mean,
you know,
you've gone from 2 to 3, and you haven't actually synced it with 3 of the people.
I wouldn't, for professionally, we hadn't synced it. And I think we didn't realize that at first. Right. Like, behind the scenes, we were a unit. Like, well, yeah. It was us and the Players Society for years in the same car. In my little, I can't even remember what it was, but my little 4-wheel death trap. Like, we're traveling 4 to 5 hours to Maine. like, yeah, so like everything behind the scene, like we were a unit. To this day, I still every day talk to these guys. Like we were a unit. You know, so like behind the scenes, we knew that's why like it didn't really make sense to us. Of like, what? But I guess we had a hard time taking behind the scenes what we were seeing and just like showing that on camera. And to be fair, like we were just having a lot of fun behind the scenes, and on camera we're trying to be very serious jerks. That doesn't marry that well.
No.
So it's a lot harder, and we're young, dumb, and not getting that. You know.
Back to the young and dumb.
Told you there's a
Seems
theme.
to be a theme there.
Told you. So yeah, we kind of got to that moment where it's just like, you know, you have this thing where like, all right, hey, why aren't we getting booked? What's going on? And I think we all kind of realized differently that we're like, hey, you know, like, yeah, the act's changed. Some of us didn't think that was much of a thing. We're like, you know, like it doesn't, like I know Griff was just like, the act didn't really change, you know?
Griff thinking, we're still the Mutts.
We're still the Mutts. And I'm like, yes, I agree, but like, Griff and I isn't the same as myself and Jose, just as it's not the same as Jose and Griff.
Right.
Like you're going to get a different match no matter how you do the pairing, you know?
Very true.
So like it's while we looked at it as, hey, it's not this, like, oh, nothing's changed. A lot has actually changed, you know, like a lot has changed. We don't know, especially if we're not necessarily telling people like, hey, which tour you book, like which tour you're getting up front. You're just like, are you booking the Mutts? And then like we figure out then and there, like, oh, it wants to work. Unless you book all three of us for a match.
Right.
You know? So like, again, self-inflicted wounds, but like we didn't see it. Nobody really saw it. And it just started to bubble up internally. Because like we got into this thing where like, hey, we're not getting booked places, and then the places that we were getting booked, we're not necessarily getting booked in the same manner that we once were. And we're over here like, oh, the act hasn't changed, like nothing's really changed. So then we're just like, you know what? Let's give them a change.
So that's what the rebranding is about.
That's when we did the full blown. That's when we started to do the purge stuff. Because we were just like, you know what? We'll do a complete rebrand. Everything will change. Now we should be fine, right? Everything should be good to go.
Everybody's on one
Yeah.
one unit.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, now we're like, all right, this will take time, you know, because this is a rebrand. So it's
Right.
like I was sold on it. Like it was partly me because I had this character Janice that I definitely wanted to get out of my system, and it just worked. It was a good idea. So we do the rebrand. With the I thought we had the understanding though that it's like, hey, look, it's a rebrand. It's like this is gonna take time.
Right. It's not an overnight thing.
Yeah. Griff and Jose didn't believe that up front. They were just like, oh no, we're still the Mutts. Like, why aren't we getting booked? Why aren't we getting booked the way we used to get booked? What's going on? And I'm like, guys, we literally just changed everything. Like, we can't, yes, it's still the three of us, but like, it's technically not the three of us. Like, you guys are really the only two that are the same. I'm a complete rebrand. I'm a completely different character now. Like, there's nothing about this that, like, yes, we still work as the Mutts, but like, I'm also trying to change my style of work so that I can separate Janice from Alex Guerrero, you know?
Yeah.
So I can have some sort of separation. And it would just like, what? Well, no, like, we're still the Mutts. Like, we had a lot, we thought we had a lot of stock in the name. And we didn't. And sometimes that's a rough pill to swallow sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's like some tension in the group as you.
Yeah. I will definitely say on my end, there was definitely tension. Because I got to the point where I started to notice that I was getting very, I don't want to say hateful.
You guys more like competitive?
No, I wasn't competitive with it. I started to lose interest
In the team
in everything.
as a whole.
I was just like done with wrestling. Yeah. So that's why I retired. That's why we did the angle. That's why they kicked me out. It's because I was like, I'm good. I also, so at the time too, because I know people would be like, oh, well, you said you broke your back. I did, conveniently, at the same time.
So that was
Conveniently.
Technically
it,
true.
it worked out.
Very conveniently. I used it in the wrong way of a cop-out to tell people why I could leave.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, yeah, no, I have a broken back. Genuinely. Cracked back. Like, I didn't need surgery, thank God. But, like, I was at a brace for God knows how long. It sucked. But, like, I was super burnt out. Because, like, the three of us were fighting all the time about, like, hey, why aren't we getting booked? Where are we getting booked here? Griff would be reaching out to promoters, and he'd be angrily be reaching out to promoters. And, like, people wouldn't want him on the show. And he would get genuinely pissed off about that. And he would say some not nice things back. I'm not going to name people because, like, I don't want things are gone and done.
Yeah. No, we don't need to name names, but
like, it happens. And, like, you would say mean things. And it's just like, hey, man, I thought we were buddies. Like, Griff would use, like, connections they'd had in the past, but like, he wasn't using them in the right way.
right.
You know? And, like, so, like, that would start happening. Jose was constantly just being like, he couldn't I don't think he could understand, like, hey, why aren't we getting booked? You know, because it's like we knew we were good. We knew the act was good. We knew the things that we were doing was clicking. But, like, promoters were very skittish. And to be honest with you, at that time, you could probably get 3 other guys that were 20,000 times better for the same fucking rate. So, like, you don't really need to. You want sure thing that's really, really good? Or do you want, we don't know if this is, like, we think this is really, really good. We have a lot of faith in this being really, really good.
Yeah, but we don't know if it's actually going to work.
But it's still a proof of concept. Where are you going to invest your money?
Yeah.
You know, and, like, I don't know if Jose saw that at the time. So, like, I got very resentful. That's the word I was looking for. Resentful. There it is. I knew it would come to me. I got very, very resentful. So I used my back as a way to, like, hey, man, I'm not going to tell people the truth. I want to be nice about this. I want to be diplomatic. Because, like, I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But, like, I made a promise to you guys that I'd be honest.
Yeah.
So, like, and I also said, like, hey, this is personally, for me, my view. But, like, this is why I walked away at that time, was because I was hating it. I hated the fighting. I hated how I felt like we were starting to really get at each other's necks. Like, we weren't talking as often as we were, too.
You guys didn't feel like family anymore.
Yeah. And I was just like, I need to get away from this because, like, I don't want to hate you guys.
Yeah.
Like,
So you guys are friends in real life, so
you were best of friends. Like,
right.
Griff, that is my brother.
It was just being ruined. But...
Jose is my brother.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm having these feelings that I'm like, yo, like, I'm starting to, like, not want to be around you guys because, like, all we're gonna do is fight, and that's not what we do.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, no, I need to get away. Like, this will blow off. Whatever. They still wanted to wrestle. I was done. So I came up with this idea. I was like, yo, you guys turn on me.
they put
Like,
you out.
Yeah, I was like, take me out. Like, I'll go out. I'm like, I'm never wrestling again because, like, at that time
out.
I was done. Oh yeah, I was super burnt out with the back and everything because I didn't know. Also with the back, I had just, like, got it confirmed that it was, quote unquote, like, cracked. I say broke because it's fun for the stupid fucking story, but, like, it was crack. You know,
a bad one.
just not in a good spot. Like, it was the play. It wasn't like, how's a crack bad? You know, it was just, like, where it was. I can't remember where it was in my back, but, like, in my lower back. So, like, it would just lock everything up. It just made moving impossible. It hurt. Like, I couldn't do anything. Like, breathe, like, just move. Existing hurt. You know, so, like, it was like, all right, but, like, it probably felt that way too, though, because, like, I felt like I was just, like, being surrounded by this pool of negativity.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're in pain, you're not going to be... Nobody in pain is going to be that pleasant to be around.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. So I leave.
So that leads to Griffin Jose having a little run. Do you remember either of that?
Yes. Yeah. So I was still... While I wasn't around for that, so, like, I don't know, like the business dealings of, like, why they... Like, 'cause, like, when I left, I would still... Like, we still had a chat on the side. We would talk every day, and I would, they would pitch ideas sometimes, and I would respond, when I felt like it. Kenny was also in the chat, so, like, it was mostly Kenny for the wrestling, because I was kind of, like, done with wrestling. I was like, I don't want to talk to them about that at all, please, because, like, that'll just piss me off, and I need time to like decompress from that.
Now, did they continue as the Mutts?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they.
That was the point. And it was like me. It was like, hey, we did the turn in a way so that it would be like it was definitive. Like I was done. I was out of the Mutts. Here you go. It's these two. So like there was no longer. We did it. So like there was no longer a question.
Right.
When you booked the Mutts from here
That's
on
who you're
forward,
getting.
you are getting Ian Griffin, August Leone. This is the Mutts.
And
Right.
that's it. You get those two, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's only these two guys. So like it was, here you go. Like apparently that was a thing. This was a problem. Problem solved. So they go on their run. They get booked in a couple of spots. I know they stayed in TIW for a little bit. They were doing this New York show for a little bit. And they got booked in Maine a couple times. Did a couple little runs, but like nothing stuck. Nothing like they had, Griff has a lot of goodwill. Jose has a lot of goodwill.
Yeah.
So like a lot of these places you can get steady bookings just because, like, hey, people like having you around. You're a good hand,
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's like you always have there's always places that you can call home. It's a safe booking. A lot of it was probably that.
Right.
Not talking crap, just honest. Like I utilize that today. So like I have no business being booked in the places that I'm booked today, but like I am because I'm loyal. I do whatever, I try to do whatever I can to help. Like whenever ideas are pitched to me, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
Like I just want to help people at this point. So, but yeah, so like there was supposed to be them. They can go, they can run, do their thing. And that didn't. That was kind of sort of working, and then Griff had the seizure. Griff I don't remember when it was.
So he was still actively wrestling.
Not after this. No. So Griff had a seizure. I don't know if people know that he had a seizure. But there was something that happened, and then Griff had to take time off of wrestling. Griff had a seizure at work.
Mm.
And I believe he had another one while he was in the hospital or something. Like something else happened. It was weird for a minute. Like I was never worried that his life was in danger. But it was weird. It was just like, hey, why are you having like?
It's definitely something of concern.
Yeah,
Yes.
weird thing. Like, oh, okay. So then he's getting better from that. At the time, he's still telling people, "Hey, I'm done." Like, because like he was having, we didn't know. Like out of nowhere, he was having seizures.
Right. Obviously, you're not going to be able to work doing that stuff.
Well, you shouldn't work at least.
There's the answer. It shouldn't be working, but like people wrestle on all types of medication. Like once you get your shit under control.
That's fair, but
That's what he was
you
working.
shouldn't be.
Yes. Okay. But that's what he was actually working towards. He was working towards getting cleared. And I think he was either close or he had gotten cleared right before he passed. I can't remember which it was. But I know that he was moving in the direction that he wanted to be moving in.
He got cleared to go back into the ring.
Yeah, because him and Jose were still going to go.
Continue to be the Mutts.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the plan. That was always the plan.
And you're going to stay on the sideline or what?
The
Stay retired.
Yeah. That was the original plan. Yeah.
And a tragic day happened.
The unfortunate passing.
That's an interesting way of putting it. I had the tragic day. That's what I meant. It's because it's a tragic day. It's just I don't know, weird way of. Yeah. Yeah, and then he died. There's no really other way to say that.
So-
the silence for Griff.
What are you gonna say? Man?
So do we know what the medical diagnosis was?
Cardiac dysrhythmia in a person. I used to be able to rattle this off. Cardiac dysrhythmia in a person with poorly controlled asthma in conjunction with a chest infection, or something like that. It's some weird. His official cause of death is some very weird medical legalese, medicalese, I guess.
A lot of big words for a simple brain, people.
He just died. That's the easiest way to put it is, I guess, he was in the bathroom. Kids heard a thud. Didn't really think anything of it. And then, like, he could have just dropped something. Like, they didn't think he fell.
Right.
Waited a couple minutes. Hey, you good? Nothing. It's like the phone calls started to get made. Nobody answers. So, like, people start calling around, blah, 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 blah. 911, I wasn't there at that time. So, like, from what I understand, 911 gets called to get to the house, break the door down, drag him out. And he was gone. They do what they got to do to get him ready, or not get him ready, to try to get him back. Yeah, get him ready. Bring him back. Around that, so somewhere in that point in time, I mean, his widow has already called family. Family's already, like, on their way there. Angie gives me a call to let me know what's going on. I leave here, my house. I go there. Her family's all there. He's still in the house. The medics were, I don't even think, like, they're not working on him at this point in time. They're just kind of like,
They knew he was already gone.
well, yeah, they already called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew. I guess they kind of knew when they got there, but, like, they gotta at least
Try.
to do something.
Practice.
Yeah, you know. So, but yeah, no, they like she like, when I got the call, it wasn't like, oh, something happened. It was, hey, he's gone. You know. So, like, I knew driving the entire way. Yeah. So that was fun. I don't wish that day upon anybody. Like, I tossed it out there. I was like, this was the worst day of my life. Nothing has ever topped that. Like, that is such a life altering day for me. Nothing has been the same since that day. But yeah, it was just quick. It was sudden. That's, like, the only good thing, I guess, out of it. Because it would have instant. So.
No pain, never knew it was coming.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah. Same amount of, like, the same light switch as the submersible guys. Just game, done. You don't even know. And so it's like, all right, well, at least, you know, there's that. He didn't suffer or anything. So, yeah, it's weird. It was really, really weird. Very, very weird. Very, very weird. But that was pivotal. Crazy, crazy stuff, man. I did not expect to ever have to do that in my life. Never expected to have to bury my best friend.
I don't think anybody ever would be expecting to have to do something like that.
Yeah.
Or ever to get that call.
I'll push back on the second back part, just because, like, eventually we're all going to get old. Like, hey, guess what? Life's a work. And how it ends.
All right. Nobody expects to get that call while someone's so young.
Yeah, there you go. There's the caveat. Yeah. It's just, yeah. It's one of those things, like, Griff and I would always laugh and be like, hey, man, we wanted to wrestle into our 50s. And be like, at that point in time, just become, like, an absolute parody of ourselves. Like, our dream was to get, like, the most tasseliest gimmicks we could find. just cover ourselves in tassels. Our theme was going to be "Sweet Child of Mine," and we were going to be like Randy the Ram, but just like pathetic, like really pathetic. Like we just joke of an existent type stuff. Like it's like Randy the Ram's badass. The exact opposite. Big polar opposite stuff. But that was like the dream stuff we couldn't wait to do. So yeah. That's why ultimately
You decided to come back eventually.
Life after the passing of Ian Griffin. Are you returning to the ring?
I'm kind of offended that you've the way you worded that, because like it's 2025, man, and I've been back in the ring for like a year and a half. So
You're welcome.
Bitch.
It's but yeah. So I've been I think it's been a year and a half now. But yeah, I've been back. I got back in the ring probably like a year after, I think. Cuz I had my surgery, the weight loss surgery. I can't remember the timing of everything. I think I had the weight loss surgery the year after he passed, so 22. So I'd have been 23-ish, 24 when I came back. 23, yes, I've been back about a year.
My bad. I fucked up.
No, it's fine. I'm just...
Track of time, you know?
Yeah, funny. But yeah, no. So yeah, I'm wrestling again. Yay!
So you're back now. How does it differ? How does it feel differently now that you're not with Griffin anymore on these trips?
Well, I mean, at first it was cool because I came back doing a one-off, or what was supposed to be a one-off. I was just supposed to do this battle royal, and I wasn't really going to do anything again. Like I was telling people that I was going to do this big return thing, but I wasn't sure how well it was going to go. It's like it was really just going to be like this one match. Let's see how this one match goes. Thank God we didn't, because the one match never happened. But
such as the case in wrestling.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I got lucky because like Jose was still able to wrestle, and we were just like, hey, you know what? Like, we could still do the MUTTS. Like the MUTTS can still be a thing, because like it was always the three of us. Yeah, you guys kicked me out, but like in a weird way, we would have a new quote unquote unifying cause.
Right.
You know, because now it's like, oh, it's the return of the MUTTS, you know? And yeah. So we get to, so in a way I got to, re-add Jose. Yeah. Well, I think it was always, I knew in this run I wanted to. Because it was like, man, in my head, I was like, I know that I'm all in this time. And he deserved that from me the last time. And I couldn't give that to him the last time, because I knew that I was halfway out anyways. Like I had personal stuff going on, add on the professional stuff. It was just like, yeah, no, this is not fun. And I'm having fun in life right now. So I got to check, this time, like my life had changed so much. Like I'm a dad.
Yep. That's a big one.
Yeah. It's the main one. So a different perspective now. So like I knew coming back I'd have to be all in on, being, Randy Guerrero again. So like it was natural to bring Jose back. It's just like, man, I owe this to him. So we do that for a bit. That was fun. Like we were definitely getting ready to like make big, like, because at first we didn't know how people would react to it, because again we're like, oh, it's been so long, and like we both now were under the standing like, hey, look, no, this is a new product that we're putting on. Because again we started to change things. We're like, right, we're going to change the music again, change the presentation a little bit, kind of sort of another rebrand. Like we're still the MUTTS,
reimagining,
but like another reimagining of how we wanted to do things. But like, let's slow walk this one. So like, see what people like and what they don't like. So we're in the process of doing that, and we're finally getting to the point where like, oh hey, we knew what was working for us, and we're like, all right, cool. Now we can go all in. We're gonna like get brand new gear, matching stuff, like the same exact formula that we did with Griff and I.
Right.
You know, we're like, hey, let's see what works, see what goes. Like, let's build the MUTTS back up from the ground up. It was fantastic. And then Jose had to go and get a real job.
Life getting in the way again.
Damn.
No, that's a rip. He got a good doctor. Is the reality of what he got. He got a good doctor because he was already seeing a doctor and he already had imaging done in his neck. But he got a different job. With that, he got a different doctor. And that doctor, while looking over all of his own, actually, well, I'll take it a step further. That doctor asked for all of his records. Doctors don't normally do that. They're just like, give me what you can, blah, blah, blah. There's doctor like, no, let me see everything. Saw some of the scans on his neck, didn't like what he saw, ordered Jose to go and get new scans done. Thank God. Because I guess it turned out that he had been working on 2 fractured vertebrae in his neck for years.
Wow.
Because it was an old injury. It just had never healed. The same boat that I was in beforehand. Only we had proof this time his was an old injury. So it was the exact opposite of where I ended up with my back. Like mine, they're like, oh, hey, it's a new injury because like we took initial image. Because I never complained of a back injury before. He did complain of a neck injury. He took a bad bump once, went, got images done. Saw the broken neck.
Right.
And he's like, yep, I'm good for a bit. You know, but like he was also told that he got cleared. Somehow, he got cleared. And so now
doesn't make sense.
I don't know if they ordered additional imaging. Like I said, he got a better doctor. But yeah, but like ultimately it was like, hey man, look, dude, these aren't going to heal. So like, yeah, you've been wrestling and you're fine. So like, I guess, but like understand it's a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. One bad bump and it's over.
Complete.
Yeah. Like, depending on how bad it goes, you know, like, you're either dead or you're dead from the waist down.
Either way.
In which his case, he's dead because then his, manhandle doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So he was just like, oh, I can't wrestle. Like, obvious, made the obvious fucking choice. He has kids. Like, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
Came to me, told me, like, I was going to say, like, we had a conversation about it. No. He was just like, hey, man, this is what's going on. And, like, he told me that he had a broken neck. And, like, the first thing out of my mouth was, like, oh, okay, this is done.
Yep.
Like, you're like, yeah, nope.
We're older now.
Yeah, like, not even. Like, he didn't even have to tell me that it was old. Like, I was just like, oh, yeah, no. Like, you're going to take time off. But, like, I know how old you are. In my head, he was going to tell, like, the next words out of his mouth were the next words out of his mouth. I can't wrestle anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like once he told me, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is it. Like I would never feel, just as a friend, I would never feel comfortable. Like I feel uncomfortable about the run that we just had.
Knowing that now.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I feel guilty. So it's like, no, please, it's okay.
Right.
Like I like you're like we're already down 1. Let's not put us in a situation where we're down 2. So please. So we do the angle, or I can't remember what I hit him with, but we're like, let's do something where it's super safe, but it's in front of his kid. So like that was
good job.
Fantastic heat. Kid was crying, all this stuff. Like everybody was like, oh my God.
What a dick.
But like they didn't, like the crowd didn't know that was Jose's boy.
Right.
And we did not tell Jose's kid.
So it was genuine.
It was a genuine reaction. He thought he didn't speak to me on the whole ride home.
That's awesome.
Like, he didn't say a word to this day. He will side-eye me. because we did not fill him in at first. Afterwards, like when he the whole car ride, we're like, yo, we knew it's okay. Like, look, Daddy's fine. Okay, and he's nope. Just oh my god, if looks could kill.
That is great.
Yeah. That was fun. That would have been so much fun. We had so much good stuff like lined up. But that's always been the thing though. Like every single time we get fun stuff lined up, stuff happens.
Life.
Yeah, life. You know, or just random stuff. Like I'll go back to Maine for a minute. The riot. We did the riot. Like I don't remember if we talked about the riot.
I don't
We
think
didn't
we
touch it,
did.
right?
We did?
We didn't touch it.
No. But like we do this we're supposed to do this angle with Maine State Posse and it gets kaput beforehand and like everybody knew it. Now, the context is I'm doing this gimmick at the time, which I'm like, hey, I'm a shooter, but not like I'm a shoot wrestler. I'm CM Punk on steroids. I'm a mark. I'm young, I'm dumb.
Back to the
I got called out for it too. I think Chad Epic called me out for it in a post. It was like, stop. He's like, I know what you're trying to do. You're just not good enough to do it. Stop. And I was like, no, you're an idiot. And no, he called me out. Like, I'm old enough now. I'm wise enough now to be like, nope, he was right. He called me out on it. I should have fucking listened. But I was dumb, so I didn't. That built me a reputation. Goes into the riot. My reputation came back to haunt me. So we're supposed to do an angle with MSP. And the angle gets kaput for good reason. I think Danger Kid was winning the strap.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, moment. Duh. Big moment.
Mm-hmm.
First time. Big moment. And we're like, let's not do anything afterwards. Don't ruin the moment.
Mm-hmm. True.
And cool. All right. Let's go. We heard rumblings. There was other things, but like, I don't care. At the end of the day, the promoter was just like, hey, look, plans changed. Like, yeah, this is actually a really good moment. Let the moment breathe. Let's not run the angle. Cool. They go do the match. Everybody, we go do matches. Griff and I go do our, Griff, I, and Jose at the time, go do our normal main halftime routine. We're like halfway through the match. We always like being on first half. So then halftime, during intermission, we can get changed, go to the bar, grab a beer, go to our gimmick table in the back, and just watch the whole second half of the show, drinking beers, just enjoying each other's company.
Having a good time.
Having a good time. But like still like in character, doing stuff. That's where I went wrong. Because at that time, like I should not have been drinking and doing the character that I was doing. Because like then I got loose with the lips. Like I should have been punched. Almost was.
Shooting, cowboy, shooting.
Yep. So we're back there. We're hanging out. We're having a blast. Again, this is our version of the story. We were told that the guys were told beforehand not to cuss during the match. They were cussing. Okay. Personally, I don't care. Like, whatever. It made sense. But promoter, I'm not going to name promoter, but like everybody's going to know when I say the next sentence, was drinking and got upset by that. And was just like, hey, angle's back on. And I'm like, what? He was like, I told them not to swear. They said they wouldn't. That's all they've been doing. Don't get involved, but be seen. Are you sure? Go. They didn't listen to me, so I'm not listening to them. Go. And we're like, okay. All right. Now, I should have said no, but like, again, self-admit, I was drinking and I was a horrible. I'm not even mad. I was a horrible human. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I want that moment because at that time, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want that rep. I want to work with those guys because those guys were definitely well better positioned than us, and we needed it. We needed to work with those guys to get back to where we thought we deserved at the time to be.
Okay.
But like they were on to bigger and better things. Like that would have been stepping down for them. And like looking back on it now, like, yeah, no, they didn't need to do that. Go be stars. Don't worry about us, But at the time, we were just like offended. So it's like, yeah, when they told us we can go do this,
We're gonna
all
do
right,
it now.
cool, we're gonna go do this. The thing is like everybody knew that it wasn't supposed to happen. And then it did. With the guy who's the shooter.
I'll shoot her together over here.
Like, this is one of those things in hindsight. I'm like, wow, I really wish I had an adult. A sober adult, because like Griff was my adult. But like I wish I had a sober adult in that moment. To be like, you shouldn't do this. You're only doing this because you're an asshole. And like this is a fun thing to do. But like don't do this. It's the wrong thing to do.
This much should have been left on the leash that night, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was like, yeah. So we walk up, and I'm up front. It's me. I don't know who's behind me. I think it's Griff, and then Jose. But I'm like, I'm leading this on purpose so that in my head I can be like, all right, well, when I start to leave, the guys will get the idea, and we can hightail it and get, I'm still like, they don't know this is happening. So like, give promoter a moment, and then get the heck out so these guys can still have their moment. So we do the thing. We're standing there. Guys are still like, we make the eye contact. You could tell they're like, well, what is going on? And we're just like, oh, hey, congrats, good for you. I don't really remember what we did, being honest, but I imagine like, hey, good for you, good for you, good for you. I remember getting to a point where I'm backtracking. And I'm like, all right, this is the point where we go. All right? Because like in the ring, everybody's getting a little too, they don't know what's going on, So like, they're definitely like, are we working or are we shooting here, boys?
They were told this wasn't going on.
Yeah, So like, you can definitely tell that there's a tension where like, we know we're working. They're starting to give us the look like, oh, we think you're shooting. So we're like, I'm like, all right, time to go. Start backing up. I'm like, hey guys, go back. Like we gotta go. We gotta go. I remember then hearing Griff on my shoulder. I can't. They won't let me. I had no idea what that meant.
Who won't let him?
I had no idea at that time. I know now he meant the crowd. The crowd, because there's no security there. It's a free-for-all.
Oh.
The crowd had encircled us. There's normally a little walking lane, but because this crazy thing was happening, that like it generally looked like it wasn't supposed to happen. That gap closed with people trying to see what was going on. We couldn't leave because they weren't letting us through. So we're trying to walk out. You can't really tell because at some point we just stop because we physically can't with this wall of people behind us. Next thing I know, there's a body in the air flying at me.
That's interesting.
Catch the motherfucker. Make sure the homeboy gets down. And then the next thing I remember is Agro's on top of me. And we're going at it. And he's like, we're working, right? And I'm like, yeah, we're working. Right?
Mm.
And he was like, yeah, I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, we're both throwing working shots. Like, we're not, it looks like we're beating the shit out of each other. But like, we're like, yeah. So like, all right, we're on the same page. And we kind of look around and it looks like everybody else is on the same page. And then out of nowhere, no one was on the same page.
Ruh-roh.
All of a sudden, a chair comes flying out of the crowd. Some other, you just start hearing screams, like genuine chaos breaks out. One of the boys was a good brother and thought we were shooting. Heard about it. He came out. You know, he's a good dude. Like, he did. Like, if you had no idea, if you were told this wasn't happening, and then the guy with the shitty reputation made it happen, like seemingly made it happen, you're gonna go take care of some things yourself, you know?
Take care of business.
So like, I don't blame him, but like that lack of communication, like the promoter should have stopped him. That didn't happen. Like there should have been some form of communication at some point. That never happened. So like nobody really knew what was going on except us and said promoter. Everybody who's two sheets in the wind. So like no one's talking to anybody. So all hell breaks loose. Legitimate riot. We have to somehow skirt out the front door, I think, running through the restaurant in this place, like just trying to escape. I don't know how the other guys get out, but they get out the back. We come skirting around the building. We meet them in the back. And again, the first thing that we have to be like, we're like, hey, everybody's working here, right? Because it went from 0 to 1,000,000 real quick.
This is why we need guardrails.
No, this is why. Well, this is why you don't let stupid kids do stupid gimmicks. Hi, I'm a stupid kid.
I mean, to be fair, it probably would have went a lot better if the crowd wasn't circling people to begin with.
No, we shouldn't have done it in the first place. Like, honestly, we shouldn't have done it. Like, we should have known. We should have been mature enough and professional enough to be like, yeah, nah, man. Like, let the kid have his moment. You're obviously drunk and pissed. Let's not feed into that. But like, we were also drunk, so it's like, oh yeah, let's have a good time.
We've got that theme going though. The entirety of this conversation of young and dumb.
Yeah, very young, very dumb. You know, like that's the cool thing about being back nowadays. Is I know that I'm a completely different person. Like, having a kid has obviously changed me. Just like I watched it change, just like I watched it change Griff. Like I learned, I want to say secretly, but like subliminally, I guess. Like I learned how to be a dad by watching him. We spent that much time on the road together. You know, so like there's always certain values and certain things that you're going to learn from somebody. And he was such a good role model, a good person to look up to, a good person to aspire to be.
Griff was a great guy.
Yeah.
He was.
You know, and that's something now that I kind of...
You inspire to be? Sort of?
I think that would be I think that's a way to put it. Yeah. I mean, you want to do right. I definitely want to do right by Griff.
Yeah.
You know, you want to do the right... You want to do what feels like the right things. You know, should I be asking myself a little bit more every day, like, hey, what would Griff do? You know, I could. I kind of look at it as like, hey, would he be mad at me for what I'm doing right now? I don't think so.
WWIG. What would Ian Griffin do?
Yeah, what would Ian Griffin do? You know, like I have the IG on the gimmicks on my knee pads because, you know, like I like to, like, no matter what, there's going to be a part of him.
He's always going to be
You have
around.
to pay homage to him.
Yeah, like I have to. Like he's given me so much. You know, like, he's the good. Like I've only done so much in this business, which is nothing. But like I've only taken the ride that I've taken because Griff was the driver.
Right.
You know? So it's like now that I'm driving the bus by myself, it's like I have to acknowledge the fact that I definitely rode the coattails of somebody else for as long as I did. You know? So like, yeah, you got to do right by the guy. You know? Yeah, it'll be nice if, you know, he got his flowers. Yeah, it'll be nice if he got, you know, the tribute shows that were promised but never delivered on. You know, like, yeah, it'd be nice to actually see him get his flowers. The flowers that he deserves. Yeah. The flowers that people say that they were going to give them, but they never actually really did. You know, holding a 10-bell salute and then, like, while mispronouncing the dude's name.
Says a lot.
Slap in the face.
It's just like there's certain things that definitely happened post his passing that I'm like, man, I'm not a good person. Like, I know I'm not a good person. But But like, I don't run around pretending.
Right.
I tell you, I'm like, hey, what you see is what you get. Like, I am what I am. You know? But like to have people be like, oh yeah, I know, look, we do this because we're good people, blah blah blah. But like, I don't know really who I'm doing this for. Go away. Stop, please. You know? So like, yeah, maybe that. I know. You're like, why? Hey, like, hey, you're back. What's going on? I don't know. Somebody needs to do right by the guy. And I'm the only one physically capable of doing it.
So what's next for Randy Guerrero?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a bit more of, maybe a bit more of that, what would Ian Griffin do? You know, maybe that is something that, as much as I don't listen to, you should. You know? I know personally that's helped me for a very long time. You know, what would Yo do? That's always been like my big, like, hey, like when I make a decision, something big nowadays, beforehand it'd be like, hey, would Yo kill me if I did this? Like, man, can I tell him? Like that was something. Where it's just like, oh, can I be honest with him and tell him like this is what I did?
Am I gonna get yelled at for this one?
That's how it is now. It's like, oh man, like would I get yelled at for this? Like would I eat shit for it? And it, like maybe that's something that I really take from everything. Is really live the life that he was living. Because like I idolized the dude. He was everything that I've ever wanted to be. So maybe that's where I'd go from all of this. Is I just try to be the guy that he was.
Sounds like a good plan.